This video is brought to you by OddsJam. If you've never heard of arbitrage betting, it's a way to bet where you will always come out on top no matter what, because you bet both sides of the coin. Because each sportsbook has different odds, you can do this and make money stress-free and effortlessly. It's not betting so much as it is math. It's so easy and stress-free that I've been tracking my progress, and I'm already up over $400 after just 1 week using their calculator. As an example, in preparation for the games this week, I went into their arbitrage calculator and found that over at BetMGM, they had plus 225 odds on Rashid Shaheed to score a touchdown for the Saints against the Eagles. While over at DraftKings, they had minus 200 odds on Shaheed to not score a touchdown. Well, he either will score a touchdown or he won't. So I followed their arbitrage calculator exactly as they told me to. And no matter what happens, whether Shaheed finds the end zone or not, I'm going to walk away with a nice profit. And if that might not seem like the greatest return, there have been moments that I pounced on arbitrage odds like these, where you can turn a 20% to 30% profit completely stress-free. OddsJam's tool makes everything one click away, and there are hundreds of bets like that every single day based on the sports books available in your area. If you do exactly as they say, you will literally always come out ahead. And if you sign up now using my promo code JG9, not only do you get a 7-day free trial, and not only does it help the channel out a lot, but you get 25% off your first month. Link in the description. So sign up for OddsJam today, where the odds will be in your favor. September 20th, 2024. It's week 4 of the college football season, and we find ourselves in Pullman for this battle between the San Jose State Spartans and the Washington State Cougars, and a battle between the Mountain West and the remains of the Pac-12, for now at least. Both of these teams entered the game with perfect 3-0 records, so the winner of this one will not only keep their undefeated season alive, but will put themselves in a decent position to get ranked inside the top 25 of the AP poll. More so for Washington State. And what we got for this day was Pac-12 After Dark at its finest, to the point where I'm not sure how many people even stayed up and saw the ending to this game, but those who did were treated well. This game was the greatest roller coaster ever, because after Washington State led 24-17 at the half, San Jose State scored 21 straight to take a 38-24 lead after 3. Then, Washington State came back to make it 43-38 before San Jose State scored a touchdown with 26 seconds left to make it 46-43. Before Washington State drove down the field with 26 seconds left and hit a game-tying field goal from 52 yards out to force overtime at 46-all. My recap doesn't do it justice. This game was absolutely wild. San Jose State gets the ball to start the first overtime period, and on the second play, Ethan O'Connor picks off Emmett Brown. Washington State's defense holds and forces the Spartans to get no points. At this point, the Cougars have the upper hand. At this point, all Washington State has to do is run the ball and kick the field goal, and they've got the hard-fought, chaotic win. Just run the ball, don't do anything stupid, hold on to it, and you're going to go to 4-0 and potentially find yourself ranked. Just run the ball, keep it on the ground, and...
Mateer back to pass. Drills one. That's intercepted. The Cougs give it back.
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something to look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something to look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of a college head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Washington State head coach Jake Dickert. This seems like it could be the year that Wazoo finally turns things around. So far, Dickert's got the Cougars as one of the top 2 teams in the Pac-12, which is impressive stuff. All kidding aside, after some mediocre years with him at the helm, it seems like things are finally on the up and up, and there's a solid chance that Washington State will be ranked inside the top 25 by the start of next week. After going 5-7 last season, they find themselves at 4-0, and not just with a dominant win over Texas Tech, but with a shocking win in the Apple Cup over Washington. But, oh man, this was a close call against San Jose State. This was a really close call, and the Cougars had to be extremely lucky that they won this game. Not just considering how the rest of the contest went, but considering the fact that with this play, They completely shot themselves in the foot for no reason. They have the game won, barring something crazy, and they lost it by getting greedy and throwing, at least for the moment. It was the Nick Sirianni decision on Monday Night Football in the Eagles-Falcons game all over again, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. Although at least that play had a purpose and would have ended the game if it was good. This had no purpose and would not have ended the game and made things any different. So this one was a real head-scratcher that was pure Pac-12 After Dark vibes. So with that being said, let's take a look at why calling a deep passing play on 2nd and 8 in overtime in a tie game with the ball in field goal range and you having the last possession is a really bad idea. Now, based on the college overtime rules, after you got an interception on your first drive and picked off the Spartans, if you scored any points whatsoever, you would have won the game. Doesn't matter if it's a field goal or a touchdown. Just score anything and you win. If you started with the ball in overtime, of course I'm not making this video, even though I'm not crazy about a concept like this where the only options are either at the line of scrimmage or in the end zone, and there's no intermediate ground. But when you get the ball second, if you have a good field goal kicker on your team, your goal is to just get as close as possible to making a chip shot. If you score a touchdown, that's a bonus. But the goal is to just play for 3 and get as close as possible, because no matter what, barring something stupid like a penalty or a turnover, you're going to be in a pretty good spot to make the kick, assuming you have a good kicker. And Dean Janikowski, as in Washington State's kicker, look, there are some college kickers that probably cannot be trusted. Dean Janikowski is not one of them, because he's one of the better kickers in the game, especially from this spot. The redshirt senior has hit on 75% of his field goals since joining Washington State, which is a very good percentage for the college game, and on this day, was perfect on field goals, going 2 for 2. Heck, he drilled a game-tying field goal from 52 yards out with relative ease, so we know that he's got a cannon of a leg, and that he's pretty accurate, and usually won't miss. By the time this 2nd and 8 play was called, you had the ball at the 23-yard line. So even if we assume that you run the ball, and you get just 1 yard on 2nd and 3rd down, you're going to be lining up for a kick inside of 40 yards with the ball centered. And from inside 40 yards, Janikowski, in his collegiate career, is 29 for 32, hitting 91% of the time. He had 6 kicks from inside 40 yards last year, and he hit on all 6 of them. Bottom line, Janikowski is incredibly reliable. You're in a spot where you're extremely likely to win the game. You've got a 9 in 10 chance of winning based on the odds, even if you get stuffed going forward. And the odds that you were going to get stuffed were not super high, seeing as you were running the ball down San Jose State's throats all game long, averaging 4.8 yards per carry. And it's not as though that average is misleading and was inflated by any one particular long run. Over Washington State's last 5 drives dating back to the 4th quarter, they ran the ball 8 times and got positive yardage on all 8 of their runs. San Jose State was gassed. So based on the way the game had been going, and based on who your kicker was, you could just run the ball up the middle, get some more yards, or at the very least, not lose any yards, and try a kick inside 40 yards with a kicker that was money all game on field goals and had been money his entire career up in Pullman on kicks from inside 40 yards. In other words, while it's obviously not a guarantee that you have the game won, let's call it for what it is. You basically have the game won. In terms of win probability, I don't think San Jose State is giving themselves much of a chance right now if you just run the ball. So that's the risk-reward of running the football in that spot and doing what any sane coach would do. The risk is they have to settle for 3 points, even though you're not going to be losing any yards in all likelihood. It's going to come down to a field goal. The reward is that so long as your kicker that's hit on over 9 out of every 10 kicks from that distance does his job, like he had done all game, and like he had done his entire career, you win it and go to 4-0. And obviously, if Janikowski had been shaky all day and was 0 for 3, or if he was hitting just 60% of his kicks from inside 40 yards, we're evaluating things differently, and I'm not making this video. But knowing the situation and knowing the players on your team, that's the outlook. As for throwing the football and taking that chance, yeah, I've got nothing. Genuinely, I have no idea why you would do this and be aggressive in this spot. This isn't even aggressiveness, so much as it is stupidity. A throw is one thing. If you're going to try a high percentage throw like a designed slant pass, or a screen, or a play action pass in the flat, because everyone's expecting the run or something along those lines, fine. But a deep shot to the end zone? What is the point of that? The reward is that you get closer and can win the game. Alright, that's basically the same reward as before. There's not really a difference inside 20 yards as to where Janikowski kicks this ball. So you maybe improve your odds of winning by a hair. But the risk is obvious. You throw an interception, you walk away from the drive empty-handed, and you get nothing and risk losing the game. Or you could take a sack and get yourself out of makeable field goal range. By running the ball, you guarantee yourselves a really good chance to win, so long as you hold on to the ball. By throwing the ball, that guarantee is out the window, especially on a deep pass and a passing concept that, down by the end zone, is a fairly low percentage. This is like if you're on the golf course and you've got a one-stroke lead and you're on the final hole. Your opponent is going to make par on this. He's 60 feet away from the pin and on the green, so that's a 2-putt at best. Your first shot is great, and you find yourself 80 feet away from the pin. You can play it safe in a landing zone that's 20 feet from the pin and have yourself an easy 2-putt for the win when you're an incredible putter and haven't 3-putted all day, and you've never 3-putted on this hole before. Or you can try and go directly for the pin, which has a giant water trap in front of it, to the point where if you miss, you're obviously screwed. I like aggressive golf, but come on, take the safe landing zone there and win it. There's no reason to go for the pin. Washington State went for the aggressive shot to the pin for no reason whatsoever, and obviously, it backfired. It didn't backfire in the final result, since again, they did win the game, but it did backfire for the purposes of this drive, seeing as they had to play for double overtime as a result. Now, to the credit of the man you've been watching this whole time, and head coach Jake Dickert, he took full responsibility for this decision, and admitted after the game that he probably screwed up, and that this was not the right call whatsoever. Take a listen as to what he had to say about it.
And I take full responsibility for the interception in overtime. That's me. John went out there and forced one. We didn't want to sit on the ball. We wanted to get closer, but that's absolutely my fault, and John responded and made some gutsy plays.
And I respect the absolute crap out of that. Doesn't absolve you of what you did, and doesn't change how stupid the call was, but I love a coach that is just like, you know what? I screwed up. Should not have done that, and that was probably not the smartest move, and I can't put my team in that position. Of course, it's easier to stomach a quote like that when you win the game versus when you lose it. But he didn't try to play it off with some justification as to why this was the right call, and it just didn't work out. He just said, yep, not my finest moment. I've got to be better there. Hopefully, he takes this as a learning experience going forward, and if he finds himself in another close overtime game, he doesn't do the same thing. However, seeing as Washington State's last 2 games have come down to the wire and have been absolute nail-biters with their game against Washington and their double OT thriller against San Jose State, something tells me that he's going to be in another close spot sooner rather than later. So what do we learn from all of this? If you have a good kicker, and you have a strong running game, and you have the ball second in overtime after your defense forced a stop on the first possession, then for the love of God, don't throw a deep pass. There is no reason to throw a deep pass. You basically have the game won if you hold on to the football. So to call a super risky play that significantly hurts your chances of holding on to the football is really dumb. If you don't trust a kicker that's been perfect all day and got you to overtime in the first place on a much harder field goal than the one he would have been lined up for here, then I don't know what to tell you. If you don't trust a kicker that is hitting on 91% of his kicks from a certain range, and you are inside that range on a perfect night with no inclement weather, I don't know what to tell you. If you don't trust your ground game that hasn't lost yards, and that has been slicing through the opposing front 7 all day, then I don't know what to tell you. And if you have the game won and decide to throw it away by getting greedy and aggressive for no reason, then quite simply, I don't know what to tell you. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Be sure to like and subscribe if you have not done so already, as it helps the channel out a lot, and check out my other channels, JG8 for the history of college football, JG7 for the history of baseball, and JG9 News, where we talk about all things happening in the NFL. Join me every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we'll play live NFL trivia for cash prizes. And make sure to join me live as we're on stream just about every single day. And thanks to all our Patreon members and our YouTube members for helping out the channel. See how you become a member and show your support financially in the description down below.